Good morning and welcome to the Elevate team call. If you're just joining us, this is your host, Keely Austin. And our trainer today is Christian George. Christian George is not only an instructor for Renatus, but he's also the content director for our education. Christian George is a businessman, an entrepreneur, and real estate investor. Having been a licensed real estate agent for over 22 years and a licensed escrow officer for over 14 years, he is intimately familiar with every part of a real estate transaction from front to back. He loves sharing with students how to research a property, build a plan and strategy, and then close the deal. I got the opportunity to meet Christian and shake his hand back at Nationals in March this year. And he's very, very kind and humble and just a really, really good guy to know. So if you ever get the chance to meet Christian, definitely do that. And Christian, I'll get the controls over to you. Let me see if I can find your number here. Just bear with me for a minute. I did speak with him this morning, so I know he's working on getting on right now. So just bear with me. Thanks, guys. Make sure that you text your team, get them on the call. We've got 64 participants as of right now, and our goal is 100. For those of you that were on nice and early, I hope you enjoyed the Beach Boys I was playing. I did just get back from Panama, the Leaders Retreat, had a really amazing time, and I got to really connect with a lot of leaders, which was awesome. We only have, a couple things planned throughout the whole trip. And it gives you a lot of time to really network. And so I got to sit down with many leaders and it was just phenomenal. So I'm texting Christian right now, just making sure that he's able to get on. So continue to bear with me. Thank you. I think we're just having some technical difficulties. If anyone wants to come off of mute and share their experience that they had at Leaders Retreat, for those of you who attended, that would be great. And then once Christian is able to get on, then we can start the training.
Hey, my name's Tyson from Salt Lake City.
Hey, Tyson.
Hey, I actually came off mute because I've never been to a leadership retreat from Renatus, and I'm sure I'm not the only one among all of us on this phone call. Could you explain to me and the others what a leadership retreat is like, such as Panama?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So one of the amazing things about Leaders Retreat is that Bob will set it up so that there's one brief training throughout the whole 5-6 days that you go. And so one of the days will be a 4-hour training, and usually it's some type of leadership training regarding the marketing of Renatus. And because of that training, we are able to write off the whole trip as a business write-off 100%. And I think that's one of the main reasons Bob has that training, is not only to bring everybody together and, talk a little business while we're there, but also so that we can, utilize that whole trip as a business deduction, which I think is so cool. So we did do a training. We talked a lot about compliance, and all of the PAC members got up in front of the room during the training and, sat in a line, sort of like a panel. And we all got to speak up, ask questions to our PAC leaders, which was really, really fun. Some of the PAC, some of the questions each and every PAC answered, and some just a few answered, but that was really cool. And usually there's some excursions involved, and those are totally optional. So it's nice that you have the option to do as much or as little as you want during Leaders Retreat. This was my second Leaders Retreat. Last year we went to Cancun, and this year was Panama, which was just so beautiful and amazing. We were deep in the rainforest, went on several tours and excursions, and learned all about the history of Panama and the wildlife there. It's really hard to not see any wildlife while you're there. It's just, you're surrounded. And it was just beautiful. So while you're doing excursions, a lot of the time you're with Renatus leaders and members, and so you can connect during those excursions, but also just during downtime, there's a lot of pool time where you just hang out by the pool. So they really I think they try and make it really open to kind of doing whatever you want to do during the trip, which I love that about it. Okay, I'm just working with Christian here. Just one moment. If anyone else has anything they want to share about Leaders Retreat, feel free.
Hi, Keely. This is Diana Torres.
Hi.
Hey. So I just wanted to share with everyone, this was my first year going to the Leaders Retreat. I've been in Renatus for approximately 18 months. And some of the takeaways, besides, having a lot of fun, is you really get to meet other leaders across the U.S. and see how they're doing, how they're growing their team. And, it's a great opportunity to make new friends, make connections. I know I did, and I'm so grateful that I went, because I almost didn't go, because I was contemplating whether to go or not. But one of the things that I love during Bob's training is a quote that he put on the board that said, "It's ultimately impossible for another person to offend you or to offend me. Indeed, believing that another person offends us is fundamentally false. To be offended is a choice we make. It is not a condition inflicted or imposed upon us by someone else or something else. To believe that someone or something can make us feel offended, angry, hurt, or bitter diminishes our moral agency and transforms us into objects that can be acted upon." So that really resonated with me, because a lot of the times, we might take offense to what people say about what we're doing, or we don't talk to people because we're afraid we're going to offend them. This quote really got to me, because you technically cannot offend anybody. It's their choice if they decide to be offended or not. And there's nothing you can do about it. So go out there, talk to people, and if they get offended by what you say, again, it's their choice, not yours.
Thank you for sharing that. That's really powerful. That's awesome. One of my highlights was breakfast I was sitting down with a couple people at breakfast, and Sandy Gold Clark happened to come and sit at our table, and I kind of started to pick her brain with her expertise on Facebook marketing. And she ended up sitting with me for, I think, over 2 hours, maybe hour and a half, 2 hours. After everyone else was done eating, everyone had gotten up and left, she and I just stayed there and talked and talked and talked. And that was just a really cool opportunity that I don't know that I would have, that would have happened anywhere else other than Leaders Retreat. And so that was just really, really nice of her to spend that time with me. And I've definitely learned a lot from her. I'm excited to be implementing a lot of what she showed me. So that's another thing for me that stood out. So just looking at the chats, definitely be aware of the cameras. Sometimes when you come onto this webinar, your camera is automatically on. And so you do have the option to, I think it says video, you can stop video or start video. So if you don't want your camera showing, then click on stop video. Thank you for the feedback, Jeremy. And Ashley, that's really exciting. Congratulations for joining Renatus. And yeah, anyone that wasn't there this year, make it a goal to be at Leaders Retreat next year. It's 100% worth it. It was a really amazing time. And if you can afford to go a couple days early or stay a couple days late, that's always a great idea too. So still working on getting Christian on here. I believe he's going to just be calling in. And so, yeah, we're just having some technical difficulties. On his end, it's showing that the meeting has not started. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on that part. So if anyone wants to continue to jump out and share anything, feel free. If we don't get this going in the next 5-10 minutes, we'll probably cut the call short. If anyone else was at Leaders Retreat, come on out and talk about any of your takeaways. Something that they did a little bit different this year than last year was we had the opportunity to sign up for a sit down with a pack leader with a group of 8 people. And I sat down with James and Lisa Lease out of Sacramento, California for the morning. And then
I think we lost you.
yeah, can you hear me?
Here, can I hear you now?
All right, thank you. Yeah, something weird happened there, but we're back. So yeah, got to sit down with a couple of PAC members and just pick their brains, learn about their story and their business. That was phenomenal.
I had a quick question. So what's your story like? Where did you start? Where were you at before you joined Renatus?
So I was a personal banker. I was a personal banker for about 6 years prior to Renatus. And Michael and Vanessa Huggins are two really good friends of mine. I've known them since previous to Renatus. And when Michael started Renatus, of course, he talked to my boyfriend, Casey, and I. And we were just not in the right place. We weren't really ready to hear it. So several years went by and we saw his transformation, we saw his success. And during those years, my mind had kind of opened up to the idea of entrepreneurship, because at the bank, I had people coming in depositing checks to their business. And these people were around my age. And I was thinking, you know, I could have a business, but I had no idea how or what I would do. And so when Michael and Vanessa continued to follow up with me for years, finally I was in the mindset where I was willing to kind of open up and take a look at it. So since I've joined, I've become really involved with our Scottsdale team. I'm here in Arizona. So I work with Bill Predabon and Gary and Sylvia Lawrence and a lot of our Scottsdale and Phoenix people. I have quit my full-time job, which has been amazing thanks to the marketing, as well as completed a fix and flip. We sold it in March. So yeah, and I'm doing this full time and I'm loving it. As you know, Avi has been our host for the last 6 months, and due to him moving and a time change, I guess it's not really working out with the schedule so much anymore. So Michael's asked me to be the host going forward. So I'm really honored and excited to be the host for these calls going forward. I feel pretty bad that Christian wasn't able to get on. I'm not really sure what happened. So it looks like we're going to be rescheduling. So those of you who have any questions, or again, if anyone wants to share anything regarding Leaders Retreat, it was a really, really amazing trip. So I'd love to hear other people's takeaways. And then we can cut the call short, let's say at 7:30, or excuse me, 8:30. I'm an hour earlier here.
This is Tyson from Salt Lake again. I have a question about marketing.
Sure.
Knowing that the events are every night, are every week, so technically we can invite our guests to any of the weeks. If they are always busy, how do you create urgency even though there is an event every week?
I was taught usually, like, before they've been to a meeting, when you're first inviting them, it's a good idea to avoid letting them know that we have events every week, because like you said, it does eliminate that urgency. So once they come to an event, usually at the events, at least here in Scottsdale, they do mention that we're here weekly. So once they're at the event, they kind of find that out. But until then, once they, you know, if they haven't come to an event yet, you want to avoid letting them know, like, oh yeah, we meet every week. If they're not able to make it on a Thursday night, then I'm assuming you guys have things on Saturday as well. So see if they can make it to a Saturday meeting. And then also just focus on the reason that they called you, the reason that they initially reached out to you, or maybe whatever it is that you know would help them with Renatus, like what Renatus would help them with. Really just hone in on that detail to create the intrigue and to create the need for them, regardless of there being an event every week. Make them want to come because it's going to help them. I hope that was helpful. And if anyone has any other answers, feel free to come on out and share.
I think that was helpful. Thank you. Do you think it matters which event they go to first? Because here in Salt Lake, we have events almost every night of the week.
I think it's really powerful to get them to a property tour first. I think that's just a really good first exposure, in my opinion. They get to meet the team. Here in Scottsdale, we do a very small epic during the property tour. So we go over all the details of the tour, which is really intriguing and exciting for the guests to actually go to a property, see all the people involved, learn about the deal, and then they also get a little snippet of the epic presentation or the pillars presentation. And then at that property tour, you'll invite your guests to the following Thursday night to learn more. So if they can't make it to a property tour first, then it doesn't hurt to get them to a Thursday night. And then I know a lot of people just get the person to the next event regardless of what the next event is. But in my opinion, I think it's powerful to get them to the property tour first.
I think that's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Does anyone else want to come out and share anything about Leaders Retreat or any questions?
Do you have any experience working in markets where there isn't any events?
I have signed up somebody for the education only. She's in South Carolina, and I don't believe there's anything really near her. She initially reached out to me through Facebook because of some of my posts, and she is really interested in real estate. So I got her the education, and then I'm inviting her to come out to Scottsdale. She's totally open to traveling, and there's not a lot like holding her back as far as family goes. And so it's easy for her to travel. So she's really excited to come out to Scottsdale to our events like regionals, larger events, of course, like regionals, or to go to Utah for nationals. But, you know, that's really the extent of it. I don't have a lot of experience with people in markets where there's not meetings. I know that videos are a great tool to utilize for those people who may not have a meeting. Just send them videos. So speak with your 5-star about where to get those videos and what videos to send, because we do have a lot of really great videos for those who can't make it to a meeting.
Hi, this is Wanda.
Hi, Wanda.
Normally what I do when I have people outside my area is in our office, we do have the Zoom account. So we have the Zoom for the presentation and we have the Zoom for the mastermind. So if I have somebody who is more than 2 hours away, then I give them the link and they join us on the Zoom account. So that way they can join the meeting and they can see presentations, they can have guests if they want to, and begin building those communities as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Wanda.
I wanted to add, Leadership Retreat was awesome, but we need to start thinking now about regionals. And the question is, which regional are you attending? So we here now in a bigger scale have people from all over the nation. So start looking at the calendar and see which regional are you attending. Here in Salt Lake City is gonna be awesome. So if you're in Salt Lake City, you're gonna be in for a very, very, very great experience. I cannot tell you more about it because it's a big surprise, but get excited because it's gonna be affordable, it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be something epic.
Woohoo! Love it. Thank you, Wanda.
Hey, good morning. This is Anna from Denver. And I wanted to ask Wanda if she can answer that, or anybody. Where are we gonna put the address or the location of the regionals? Is it in the Utah calendar already or in the calendars?
It's gonna be in the calendar in Utah. The address, we're gonna hold the trainings at the Salt Lake Community College, and our banquet is going to be at the aquarium. So, and we're gonna have the hotel very nearby the Salt Lake Community College, and the aquarium is closer. So it's gonna be in a ratio that you may need the car. If you drive, well, if you come in from Denver and you're driving, you will have your car. But if you're flying in, then you may need to rent a car in here.
Awesome, thank you very much. And also I wanted to add, you know, that was my first leaders retreat, and it was awesome. It was a great experience. So if you guys did not have a chance to go, like Wanda said, you know, look, build up for regionals. You know, we have nationals, and then I would suggest that you put that in your vision board. You know, leaders retreat. I did that. You know, I was able to go this year to Panama, so we had an awesome and you build relationships.
I love that. If you don't have a vision board, get one set up, and definitely start, you know, thinking about next year's leaders retreat. Make it a commitment to yourself that you're going to be there for your business. All right, well, it is 8:33. If anyone has anything else they want to share, I'm completely open with keeping the call going and, you know, continuing conversation this way. Otherwise, I will go ahead and close out the call, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
I have a question on the videos. I've been giving them out, and I have noticed that the people I'm giving them to aren't watching them. So how do you overcome that?
Something I learned was a term that goes, or a phrase that says, if I would you, and what that means is, if I send you a video, would you watch it? So you basically want to get their commitment that they're going to watch it before you send it to them, and not just a commitment that they're going to watch it, but also schedule follow-up with them before they watch it. So if I send you a video, would you watch it? And of course they'll say yes. And then you go ahead and schedule a time to follow up. Okay, you know, maybe give them a day. So today is Monday. Can I give you a call Wednesday afternoon? And would that give you enough time to make sure that you've watched it by then? And exactly, Amanda, read Go Pro by Eric Worre. That's exactly where I'm pulling this from. But you definitely want to get a commitment. Don't just send them videos with no commitment and also with no follow-up scheduled. That's going to kind of hold them to their promise a little bit more. Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, I've tried that. That one still hasn't worked. So
these people that you're sending the videos to, how are you intriguing them? Like, do you have an example of someone who hasn't watched it? And, you know, I mean, I feel like if they have a good enough reason to watch it, they're going to watch it. So something's missing. And if anyone wants to jump out and help me, feel free.
So everyone, I try to get them to watch Bob's video first, the one where he does the whole tour of the United States, which is a pretty awesome video. And everybody I've handed it to, I have to actually remind. The only people I've actually had watch it is I reminded them before the follow-up to watch it. So like 3 out of probably the 20 people I've given the video to have watched it.
Hey, Keels.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Billy.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, so, you know, along these lines, I think what you asked him is perfect. You know, what is it you're using to create intrigue first? So you know, when you're giving these cards out for videos or for people to watch, can I ask you, are they people that are out of town and can't get to a meeting, or are you trying to get them to see the video first and then invite them to a meeting? What's the goal of the video?
Give me just.
I think we're talking about the AMP videos, and I'm using them, and I'm having very good success with them.
Right.
But,
no, I understand that. I understand he's using the AMP video. I'm just trying to figure out, like so. Generally speaking, you know, the AMP videos are there to create intrigue, right? So a lot of times those videos are sent out just to create intrigue, right? So it's just like, hey, check this out, you know, and not even tell somebody what they're about, right? You're just like, you got to watch this video. It's going to be amazing. Or, holy crap, I just watched this video, or something like that. So it's almost mystery because they're so short and they're just there to create the intrigue. And then you follow up with them, right? And so, but if it's a presentation video, like you were talking about, Wanda, and things like that, that's a different story. But, you know, what I'm getting at is, in my opinion, the first step always is to try to get them to a live event. I would use or in order to get them to a live event, you have to create intrigue, like Keely said. That's exactly, they have to have a desire and an interest and a reason to want to go to an event or watch a video. So if we're just using the AMP videos to get them interested, then maybe we don't say anything about it, and then their intrigue is there because they have no idea what the heck they're watching. But if you're trying to create intrigue to give them an intriguing video, it may not be as appealing to watch that video.
But that video have 3 segments, and the first one is very intriguing, but then the second one gives you the presentation, and the third one is the follow-up, where Bob Snyder even say the prices. I just signed up 2 people out of those videos, and I'm just following up further. But by the time they watch all 3 videos, they already know the price. One is in New
Correct.
Jersey and one is in Florida, and I'm not there. And the New Jersey one doesn't have a community to go to. Although I was talking to Hugh in Leadership Retreat, and she's gonna be going to New York. But right now where she's at, there's no like nearby a community. So I'm plugging it into my meetings via Zoom, and then the other ones in Florida, they go to Kevin's meeting in Orlando. But that's how those videos gave all the information before I even stepped in.
Kind of exactly my point, which was the first question I asked, is who is he giving the videos to? Are they out of town or are they local people? Which was what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get a little more information out from this guy, because obviously they're working for you, and it's not working for him yet with 20 people he's giving the videos to. So if he could shed a little more light for us, then, you know, obviously it's working for you. You could probably point him in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense. If it's for someone out of town, it's perfect for someone out of town who does not have a live event to go to.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, the people locally, I just bring them over to my meetings. Although yesterday I did a 3-phone pool with 2 girls in T-Mobile. I went to the T-Mobile store. I have to fix something, and I started talking to the 2 girls, and I gave them the video. But that was yesterday, so they haven't watched it. But I'm gonna send them a text and say, hey, you know, do you have time to do this? But otherwise, I'm going to invite them to my meeting on Thursday, or to a live event, because they're local. So if they don't watch the video and they're local, I'm going to bring them to the event anyway. So those are the two things, yeah.
Well,
Hi,
they're
Wanda.
local,
This is
and as far as I know, there's no events around my areas. So I kind of just do a follow-up and a one-on-one is what I've been doing afterwards.
And where are you located?
In Nebraska.
Nebraska. You need to plug into somebody. Like if you want to text me or something, I can send you our Zoom account and they can see Richard on the presentation or whomever is presented that night. And, you know, you're welcome to use our Zoom.
Hi, Wanda. This is Sherry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We sat together at Nationals, remember?
Oh, yes.
You said you have someone that recently joined in New Jersey, but there's no local meeting. What part of New Jersey are they in?
I don't recall, but
Well,
I was with Hugh, and we calculated that it's about 30 minutes from New York, Manhattan.
Did you have the guest that was in Sparta?
Yes, I have
Okay.
I new IMAs in Florida now, but they're in
No,
Central.
I said Sparta, New Jersey, because I remember someone reaching out. I wasn't sure if it was you. I'm going to text you my contact information again.
Yes.
Look and see where your guests are in New Jersey, and then I'll
Okay.
see what we have local
Sure.
to them.
Sure.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
All right, great.
Do you have events in the calendar?
We're relaunching live events on September 5th.
Very well. Okay.
And I'll send you the address to where we're going.
Very well. Thank you. Do you have my number, right?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Wanda, so much for coming out and sharing your input. I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't catch the name of the gentleman who came out with the initial question regarding the videos. So I hope that was helpful for you. And feel free to reach out to any of us on Facebook anytime if you have any other questions like that regarding your marketing or you need any help with that. We're all here to help. Does anyone else have anything they want to come out and share or ask?
This is John Turpin. I had a quick question to Wanda and anyone else. Basically, I just was curious on when they are doing out-of-town calls and so forth, what kind of posture or what trainings would you say would be best to watch for like that type of a contact invite on those cards, like even for follow-up to create some value outside of that after, like, you know, the posture being, you know, the question, asking them the question or bringing them to that point. You find the video does that for it, or do you have to, because sometimes there's voice inflections in myself on the ends of, you know, someone maybe not getting in or getting, you know, getting started.
Well, I'm using the AMP videos. That's my main videos that I'm sending right now. And then my one-on-ones. Last night I did with the Florida Pips, I did a Zoom training just to make sure that because they already signed up as ICM. So I'm just kind of digging in the training and where to plug in their people and where to sign their people up and things like that. So it's a lot of work when they're outside the state, and it's better to build your communities near you first, and when you are ready to expand, make sure you have support on those places, because otherwise your community, your members are not going to have the experience. So right now I'm at the point that I'm expanding, but be careful when you expand. because if you're not there, they're not going to have the support. And if there's no community in the place, then it's even worse. So just be careful when you expand.
Yeah, Wanda, I think that's great that you said that. Wanda, I think it's great that you said that because, you know, in your situation, you have extensive experience with a nice little team of your own, and whoever this gentleman is, I apologize, I forgot your name already. You know, her posture comes from that experience building a team locally. And so she's very confident in her belief that everybody needs Renatus and her 4 core beliefs. Not that you're not, but she has the experience of her own personal experience to back that up. So being able to start a market, or at least enroll somebody in a market that doesn't have an existing local community, she knows that she can support them for number one and help them start one. But you know, the other thing you want to be aware of is you know, that person's got to be a pretty dominant person, a pretty A personality, somebody who's strong. It's very difficult, like she said, to start a local market by yourself, even with a strong one person. So so I recommend too, and it's not just from me, but it's from most mentors, from Bob down, is get that experience of really building a small team, or you know, to whatever extent it takes to build your local team first. Before you look to build outside markets where you can't support, unless there's an existing community, of course. But even then, you know, most people you'll see in leadership that are enrolling students outside of their community are typically willing to travel there as well, take on some extra expense in order to support that person in the beginning. And even if there is a local community already there, so there's that as well.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Wanda. It's John.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, John. I'm sorry, I knew that.
Yeah, the
Oh, no, that's fine.
expenses is really good too. Another point. Thank you, Bill, for bringing that up, because I started a community in Las Vegas, and I was committed. Michael told me, if you're starting, you're gonna commit for a year every week. So every week, I left Salt Lake City on Mondays, and I came back on Wednesdays. I held a meeting in Las Vegas on Tuesday, came back on Wednesday to be here for my members here in Salt Lake on Thursdays. So it was very, very intense. Plus, I rented the office, and the builder fee didn't, you know, support enough of the expenses that I was having. So and I did that for a year. I paid that office for 1 year until they were strong enough to now they're holding their own events. So I'm not going over there very often. But the first year was tough. So it's taking consideration that you're gonna have extra expenses if you start building outside your market.
Thank you, Wanda.
Perfect, thank you. So I just want to read a couple of the chats that have come up. Tyler Mead, thanks for sharing the release statements. As far as videos, if people aren't watching videos, you could say, hey, if you don't want to watch this, I get it. This isn't for everyone. If you don't want to watch this, I don't want you to waste your time, as your time is valuable, as is mine. Or you could say, you can tell me no if you don't want to watch this. So sometimes when you say stuff like that, people will want to reply with the opposite. And that usually comes with a positive response. So that's really helpful. And then Jenna had a question. What is the best way to answer when Warm Market asks for the name of the education in our community? I've been advised not to say Renatus until after the initial exposure.
I want to jump on that one, and I'm sorry I'm taking a little over here.
I love it. Go for it.
Okay, I don't know, you guys know I'm a PID member, so during the leadership retreat, I took time to meet with all the PACs and ask this question. Other than income requirements that we have to be PAC, what would you recommend me to do to improve and be more qualified to become PAC? So I'm gonna tell you the answer that Scott Rowe gave me. And he said, I am the one who say Renatus the most in the company. That's what I'm successful. So my recommendation to you is to say Renatus a lot. So I am not afraid to say Renatus because I love Renatus. Renatus is not in my head. Renatus is in my heart. It's not a, ooh, go search Renatus. I'm not afraid of somebody going online and search Renatus because I know the reputation of Renatus and I know what Renatus is about. And it's my answer. Say Renatus as much as you can.
Wanda, I'm 100% behind you on that. I 100% support anybody. I don't advertise for Renatus, but the minute I'm in a conversation and someone asks, but when I do my Facebook stuff, when I do, when I talk to people as in my warm market, I refer to Renatus all the time. It's not a hidden secret. I think in this world, after what we experienced in 07 and 08, people are looking to be inspired by people. They're looking for honesty, and they're looking for transparency, and they're looking for a place to call home that they can trust and rely on. And they didn't have that back then, and a lot of people still recall that. And you know, you'll even follow the commercials on TV with all of the finance companies that are trying to get your retirement dollars and have you trade with them, have you to put their money there so they can grow your retirement. Every single one of them, they all went to advertisements that are like down to earth, right? Where the husband and wife are talking, you know, openly to each other about not having enough money in retirement. That used to be all a secret. No one ever talked about those things. And the companies knew, you know, they started being open about fees and upfront costs and all these costs that were hidden. And so now it's all in the open. They're trying to win everybody's trust back. In my opinion, it's always been open, honest, transparent, and communicate properly. And I think you're going to create a much bigger, stronger team with a true belief versus trying to overcome when someone finds out something bad about it.
Yes, agree.
I'm really glad you answered that one. That was really powerful. And thank you, Bill. Both of you are so helpful. Thank you. And then there was one other question by Jenna. What's the most effective way to create intrigue? And not just create intrigue, but have them commit to the intro workshop without answering too many questions. Like say they have a bunch of questions and you don't want to give them too much information.
I think the answer there is just to tell a story. We fail in a lot on telling stories. So learn, if you don't have your own story to tell or your own successes to tell, just learn Bill's successes, learn Michael's successes, my successes, somebody else's success, so you can tell the story. Sometimes you meet the people and you jump right into building the event and follow up, and people are not signing up because you did not connect them to a story. So tell more stories.
Definitely, stories
Yeah,
are so powerful.
Absolutely, stories definitely sell. And you know, along those lines, you know, when you create that intrigue, you know, like, oh, you know, have you ever, you know, I'm sure you thought about this or that, and they're like, yeah, you know, I always wanted to do real estate, or, you know, I hate this debt, or I don't like my job, or whatever it is. You've got that intrigue a little bit, and then you're like, yeah, you got to come down Thursday night. It's perfect, you know, or come to the intro, whatever, however you ask the question, right? And then they're like, well, yeah, I know that sounds good, but what about, you know, what is it exactly? What do you do? Like, how much is it? Like, you know, what am I going to do there? Do I need, you know, is it a networking event? And you're asking all these questions, right? And you don't know how to answer, and you don't want to give out too much information, right? So, you know, that's my response to that always is like, you know, obviously you're going to edify them. You're going to agree with them. You're going to appreciate what they're asking and understand why they're asking those questions. You're going to say, listen, you know, that's exactly why I'm asking you down. You're going to be able to see exactly what we do, what I do, and then how you can do it with us, or how you can do it too. exactly what we're talking about. The things that you're telling me you want to learn about, the things that you're telling me, like getting out of debt and how you could possibly, leave your job if you got into real estate after a couple of years. Well, that's fantastic. So everything you want to know, you're going to see on Thursday night. That's why you do it. You know what I mean? So you can just let them know all of their questions are going to get answered once they get there, and that, essentially you're the messenger. You're not the person giving the speech. And right there, if you do add in a story like Wanda said, to solidify the deal, that story should be powerful enough to coincide with that, to help them just stop asking questions and be more interested in coming to get the answers.
Perfect. And we do have a lot of good answers coming in through the chat too. So if you're able to look at the chat, you'll see some good stuff. Exactly what Bill said, to maintain intrigue, focus on the result and not the how. The only answer to their question is that's why you need to be there. We'll do one more question before we end the call. What's the best way to help others out of state? I think we kind of already went over that, was the videos. Wanda said herself that she just recently, and probably not recently, has signed up people out of state using those videos. So if you're not familiar with the, excuse me, with the AMP system, then get with your 5-star and have them go over the AMP videos with you. Cool. Well, this was a fun first hosting experience for me. I really appreciate everyone who's stuck with me, stayed on the call, and good learning experience. Again, I apologize that Christian wasn't able to make it on. I know that would have been a powerful training, so we'll just have to reschedule for another time. But I feel like we still got some good value provided here. Again, thanks everyone for being here, and Wanda and Bill in particular, thank you so much for your help. You guys are awesome. Everyone have a great Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Keely. Great job. Thanks, Wanda.